Today on Dr. Phil.
My dad is probably not coming to my wedding in Cancun, Mexico.
I don't want to spend $1,500 to go to a wedding.
They fight.
There's no way that I can spend 3 months' rent to go to Mexico like that.
And fight.
I think you guys have a drinking problem.
I think there's a few of us in this family that have a drinking problem.
Are you drunk today?
And fight.
Are you nuts?
I never said
Yes,
that.
you
No, I
did.
didn't.
Yes, you did.
When did I say that?
Do not lie.
You have serious issues with your mother.
Can't stand her.
But no one's prepared
You once told him not to call you Dad.
for Dad's shocking accusation.
You question whether Jennifer and Lisa are your daughters.
I have had my doubts.
Let's do it. This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Yesterday, I sat down with outspoken family patriarch Carl, whose daughter Lisa accused him of stealing her inheritance. Now, this dispute divided the entire family, with Lisa on Mom Kathy's side, her sister April on Dad Carl's side, and Lisa's other sisters, Jennifer and Sierra, caught in the middle. We also discovered this family's problems were way beyond Grandma's inheritance, but also included name-calling. Carl called his ex-wife, Kathy, a 160-pound mosquito, a nasty divorce, and even a mail-order bride in the Ukraine. Take a look.
My dad stole my inheritance. It infuriates me. It's beyond selfish.
I did not steal my kid's inheritance.
I saw a copy of her will. Carl would get 75% of the estate, and our daughters would inherit the remaining 25%.
My mother asked me how I felt about that, and I told her I felt it was wrong. My mom listened to what I said, and she changed her will. The bottom line of a mother's will is I want people to stop talking about it. I inherited it. They can wait till I croak, and they get theirs.
It's about several $100,000s a year, so, I mean, it's a significant amount of money.
It bothers me that you totally negated what she wanted.
I
It
did
didn't
not
matter.
negate it.
I don't even really know
She
the story.
amended it.
It's all been so
Nobody's ever
hush-hush.
saw the will.
No one's ever seen it. He's not talked about it.
Before my grandma passed away, she told me that I could have this really big, beautiful mirror that used to hang in her house. I love it, and it always reminded me of her. After my grandmother passed away and I asked my dad about getting the mirror, he told me that if I wanted it, I was going to have to pay him $150 for it.
Really?
I guess it was really.
You negotiated to sell this to your daughter?
Hey, the facts are the facts.
Lisa's sister April says the inheritance money belongs to their dad and no one else should feel entitled to it.
Basically, we have two camps. We have Lisa and her mom versus April and I.
I completely support my dad. I always have my dad's back. I think that my sister, Lisa, and my mother are trying to make my dad look like he's greedy and self-serving.
April thinks I'm a bitch.
The sound of her voice makes me cringe. I think about my mom, I feel like I want to punch her in her face.
Here's the thing, Lisa, though. Had you ever asked Dad, show me these documents, he would have shown them to you.
April, we were going to have a conversation, but you told Dad that, get ready, they're about to, they're going to
Attack.
They're going to attack you.
There was a will. He was named in the will. I give the rest and residue of my trust to Carl.
Something
You
that
want to
wasn't-
come over and look at the damn papers? I got them in a bookcase.
I see,
We'll read the
yeah.
whole
I see
300
them.
pages.
I see.
This family drama is just getting started. Not only are Lisa and Kathy upset over the will, they also think that old Carl might just be wasting this inheritance money on a possible catfish scam with a Russian mail-order bride.
For 2.5 years, I've been using an international dating website. I'm interested in girls from Ukraine. I've been to Ukraine twice. She stood me up. I told Natalia, now you play by Carl's rules. I've offered her small amounts of money and she never accepted. Natalia speaks Russian and I've been studying to learn how to speak Russian. I can say things like, ya lublю Natalia. I love Natalie.
If he wants to meet people in Ukraine, do your thing.
The way that I look at it is that He is spending my inheritance, chasing a dream that's not going to happen.
In 2 years, you've never heard her voice?
Correct.
Where was she when you went over to see her?
Supposedly in Istanbul on business.
Why wouldn't she stick around the house?
Well, that's in the back of my mind. All right, I'm not stupid. Hey, I'm not stupid.
Lisa admits she's angry that her father found the time and the money to travel twice to the Ukraine, but refuses to spend money to travel to her upcoming wedding in Cancun. Take a look.
I'm getting married in a couple months. My fiance and I are having a destination wedding in Cancun, Mexico. My dad is probably not coming to my wedding.
I don't want to spend $1,500 to go to a wedding.
I know my dad has spent thousands of dollars traveling to the Ukraine twice.
I'm very upset. What father wouldn't want to go to his daughter's wedding?
Is not only about finances, it's also I don't feel it, like I really want to do it. It's, I guess, because we have this conflict all the time. I don't feel all lovey-dovey and in tune with this whole thing.
When I think about the fact that he doesn't want to come, it is really devastating. It hurts my feelings so much.
Your dad has spent, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. You're saying on going back and forth to Ukraine and letters and all of that, but the cost of coming to your wedding is like $1,500, $1,600. He said, can't afford that.
Yeah, but he just said that he doesn't feel like he wants to go because he's just not feeling it emotionally. So I don't even know if he had the money, he would go.
Right. What do you mean you're not feeling it?
I feel like we clash so often that it's like, to me, what I try to do, she probably never mentioned it, for a long time, is to have her have a wedding at a nice place somewhere near where we are.
It's not what you want.
I know it's not what I want, but be sensible.
There's no way that I can spend 3 months rent, plus probably 4 months rent, to go to Mexico for 5 days. Like, I think it was selfish of you to decide to summarily eliminate your friends and
it wasn't about eliminating
family.
It wasn't about eliminating my friends.
In order for you to do this destination wedding, you could have had a wedding here and gone to Cancun for your honeymoon.
I could have, but that's not what we wanted to do. And we decided
Well, then people can decide if they want to go or not, too.
You're right.
Yes, I'm your dad.
I would love to go, obviously, but especially after this whole week, being around our family and certain members of our family is not healthy, especially for myself, especially regarding her. I don't want to be forced into a situation where there's going to be drama at your wedding because our family is all together.
I do not want that at all. I do not want drama at my wedding. And as far as the money is concerned, we planned this 2 years ago. So that way everybody, it was like September of 13. So that way, the way we figured it, it gave everybody like 17 months to put money away. It was $60 a month to save. And $1,500 is for airfare, all inclusive, all your drinks, all your food, the hotel for 5 days. I don't think it's that unreasonable, but I totally get that you guys can't go. But it hurts my feelings that my own dad wouldn't want to come.
You question whether Jennifer and Lisa are
right.
your daughters.
I still have my doubts.
Now, even if it were true, Carl, I don't understand why a father would say that to his daughter.
Mom.
And later,
You guys have a drinking problem.
I think there's a few of us in this family that have a drinking problem.
as if this family isn't divided enough, there's speculation that Carl has doubts that he's even the father of Lisa and her twin, Jennifer. Take a look at this.
Carl and I were married for 24 years, and during that time, we were separated twice. One of the times we separated was about 9 months before our twin daughters were born. During our separation, I saw another gentleman briefly.
She was dating this guy, and she's doing her thing with him, and she occasionally was doing her thing with me. And next thing you know, the doctor said, "You're having twins." I've had doubts that Lisa and Jennifer are my kids.
Carl has even had the audacity to tell our daughters how he felt.
When he told me that, I was devastated and confused.
My twins don't really resemble me.
Even if it were true, which it's not, why would you even say something like that to your daughters?
That's probably one of the most hurtful things you could ever tell your child. And he did it out of vengeance and spite.
Well, yes, there are 2 more daughters to add to the mix. Lisa's fraternal twin, Jennifer, and Sierra, who both feel very much caught in the middle.
Lisa's my twin sister. I am the peacekeeper whenever we had arguments. I usually tried to keep everybody calm.
I'm the youngest. I really want to stay neutral in this because there's just too many sides, too much he said, she said.
I feel like I'm caught in the drama because it's my dad against the rest of us. I've never seen a copy of the will, but I know my grandmother would have wanted us to have something of hers, definitely.
The will probably isn't the biggest issue with me. Just the fighting that happens with my dad and my sister Lisa and my mom and my sister April that tears our family apart. The drama in the family is definitely a huge mess. What I want for my family is just to get along.
With everything that's going on with my family right now, my greatest fear is that the rift will be too big and we won't be able to fix it.
Well, you 2 have been watching the show the whole way, right? You've been
Yes.
listening to everything that's been said. So, Carl, you question whether Jennifer and Lisa are
Right.
your
Can I
daughters?
mention something about this? It was something I blurted out, and I regretted saying it, but I did have doubts. I mean, it doesn't matter. I said I still love all my daughters. It's not like, oh my God, I hate those 2. You know, it's just I had my doubts. I still have my doubts, but they're in my mind. You know, I keep it to myself.
No, you don't.
No.
What do you mean? No, I don't. When the last time I ever mentioned it?
You only have to mention it once, and it pretty much has the impact that...
And it wasn't 9 months, I want to say that.
You were dating him a long time,
Carl, when we got back together, I stopped seeing him.
but that's about the time you got pregnant.
No, it wasn't.
Listen,
How do
weren't-
you feel about this, Jennifer?
I think it's ridiculous. Even if it is true, which I don't think it is, it's not going to matter because he's
I
still
don't
my
either.
dad to me.
I feel the same way.
You know, and I don't think about it because it's not an issue for me.
Even if it were true, Carl, I don't understand why a father would say that to his daughter.
Mom, why would a mother say, I don't care if we don't have a relationship because I have 3 other daughters?
I never said
Yes,
that.
you
No,
did.
I didn't.
Yes,
when?
you did.
When did I say that?
Do not lie. About 4 years ago at Christmas time,
I heard it.
you said it.
Well, maybe I did, but I don't remember it. It must have been a reason why I
Maybe
said
you
it.
were stoned and so you don't
No.
remember.
You were stoned?
Maybe you were drunk and blurted something out.
Maybe I was drunk, but maybe you were high and don't remember. I definitely remember you saying
high, Lisa, whatever
You don't
your
even know
name
what my
is.
name is.
April, she has that problem with 4 kids.
You what?
April.
What'd you call her?
Sierra, then Lisa, then April.
She does that with all of us. She's calling out
I
our
do.
names. She's
I
had
do.
that problem forever.
Do you get along with individuals?
Yeah,
If it's just the 2 of any of you, do you get along?
I get along with all of my family members. I love each of them individually for who they are. They're all so different, and I have different relationships with all of them. So
I feel like we can all get along. We're together too, but there's always stuff bubbling under the surface.
Right.
But a lot
You
of
know?
it's stuff from the past that never seems to get dropped.
Well, it's because it's never been resolved.
You know, if somebody says something, you can't take the words back. They're arrows that you shot. You can regret it.
But we can talk about it and at least resolve it.
But here's the
It's
thing,
never
when
been talked
we are
about.
together and we talk about it, someone's always drunk or people are smoking weed, and then it gets contentious, and then there's arguments, and then there's yelling and screaming, and then people leave and run. Like there's
Well, I
never
think that's why this is a good
calm,
forum.
normal conversation.
Okay, all right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to find out what kind of disaster developed the last time this family tried to plan a reunion. That is before planning to be here on my show today. More with the Kardashians right after the break.
Carl's made it pretty clear that he really never wanted children.
I provided for them. They had nice homes, they had nice clothes.
My dad wanted to be more of a buddy, and my mom knew that she needed to be a parent.
Carl dealt with them by not dealing with them.
And later, are you drunk today?
Geez, the 5th isn't too much in the morning, is it? No, I don't. I only drink at wine o'clock.
The last time our entire family was together was at Sierra's graduation from college.
It was Father's Day weekend, and my mom had planned a big meal.
My plane was delayed. I went in the bar and had 3 glasses of wine. I got on the plane, and some Earth Mama across the aisle started getting mad because I guess I was loud.
He got kicked off the plane.
I had 2 sheriff's deputies meet me there.
Who gets kicked off a plane? I thought he'd be more responsible than that.
He missed the nice graduation dinner that my mom made. I felt really bad for Sierra.
You could cut the tension with a knife.
We all were really upset with Carl's behavior, but it wasn't really surprising.
Well, I'm here talking with a family fighting over a will and their grandma's inheritance, but as you just saw, the problem runs much deeper. There seems to be a common denominator of you drinking in a lot of the things that bubble up.
Probably true. But I did go to her graduation. I got there the next day. I missed the Father's Day dinner they prepared, but I didn't think I'd done anything terrible at the airport or on the plane. But I guess they felt I did, so they said, "You're getting off the plane."
Oh, well, I'm sure they were all wrong.
They were all wrong.
Yeah.
So I stayed at the airport 3 more hours and drove home.
Are you drunk today?
Geez, a 5th isn't too much in the morning, is it? No. I don't. I only drink at wine o'clock.
Yeah. All right, look, what do you want to see happen here today?
I want my dad to know that it really hurts. It hurts me so much that you don't think it's important to come to the wedding, and it hurts me that you charged me for the mirror and the things that you said, that there's a chance we might not be your daughters. And I really want you to hear that and apologize and understand it, and maybe have a little bit of compassion from where I'm coming from and where everyone's coming from.
I do care how you feel. I'm just not as emotional as you are, I guess, and not as sensitive. I guess you're very sensitive, and I'm not, maybe partly because of the way I was brought up.
Well, when my dad tells me that he's not coming to my wedding, it kind of strikes a chord.
To me, it's also important that maybe you could have listened a little bit and had a wedding locally and go on a honeymoon to where you wanted as opposed to what you're doing. And I feel, in my mind, it's kind of like people saying, well, you've been living together for 8 years, you shouldn't wear a white dress. Well, I guess I kind of feel that way. You've been living together for 8 years, you have almost a 2-year-old kid.
So?
And it's like now it's this fancy wedding in Mexico, you know? It's like...
Right, but this day and age, who cares? And it's not like this is
care.
the 3rd or 4th wedding.
I guess I care. I could be wrong, but I care.
It's what they want, not what you
I know,
think
but
they should have.
Let me mention something else. I have a rental I'm trying to sell, which I've been planning on taking some of that, going to Mexico. It's draining me $2,000, $3,000 more than every month that I'm earning an income. My money is draining. The money I inherited is draining because if I can't make enough in stocks to make up for it, and it's like, okay, here's another $1,500. Back 3 years ago, when I went to Ukraine the first time, hey, I felt like everything's cool. I'm always gonna have money. Well, it's been a problem in the last year, especially.
Yeah, but Dad, I wish that
and
you would...
I can't save $60 a month.
Well, that's fine, but I wish instead of saying, you're too old, you are selfish for doing this, you don't deserve it, blah, blah, blah. Instead say,
well, you deserve it. It's
Lisa,
just...
I love you, and I might not be able to make it, but I support you, and it's your decision, and that's it. Instead of making me feel bad about it.
I guess it's not my personality. I can try to change it, be a better, more understanding person, but I'm not you.
I want Carl and April to take ownership of their behavior and not blame everybody else for their problems.
Why are we being lumped together right now?
Because you
I'm not
guys
him and he's not me either.
I think you guys have a drinking problem.
I think there's a few of us in this family that have a drinking problem.
Well, maybe so, but I just feel like, you know, it's, and I feel like, Carl, I just feel like it's always about you. It's not what your children want. You once told them in the kitchen when we had our, over Sierra's graduation, you told the girls, Jennifer and Lisa, that you didn't care what they felt, you didn't care what they thought, that not to call you Dad, that you could call them something else.
What?
That you could call them something else.
No, what you said.
Let Lisa
Are you
explain.
nuts?
No,
She didn't.
What you
he didn't
said
say it
was
exactly like that.
Actually, she is nuts.
No, Mom said, as their father, you should hold yourself to a higher standard and be more of a role model. And he said, I don't want to hold myself to a higher standard. I don't want to be the role model. Then don't look at me like your dad. Just look at me as some guy.
As some regular
That's what
guy.
you said.
That's what you said.
Look at me as some guy.
Yeah,
Rather than look,
you said
then
that.
don't look at me as
I can't
your
even
father.
picture me saying that.
Well,
You
you
did.
did say that.
You did.
But then you
I
were
think you miss a
drinking
lot
that
of
night,
things you
too.
say.
Yeah, I think
Well,
so
I'm sure
too.
everybody does,
You have serious issues with your mother.
Can't stand her. She makes my blood boil.
Yeah, you got a chip on your shoulder. You have serious issues with your mother.
Can't stand her.
Yeah, that's a short way to say it.
Very short.
You feel like you were abandoned by her. You have real problems and resentments towards her. I totally get that, and that's something that is going to need to be dealt with because it affects who you are.
Absolutely.
It doesn't affect just who you are in your relationship with her. You got a chip on your shoulder.
100%.
And it affects you. I think it's the reason you have anxiety. I think it's the reason that you do drink. I think it's the reason you self-medicate. And I think you've got an anger boiling inside you.
But honestly, I don't ever feel like angry like that unless she is around me.
Yeah.
Like she does, she makes my blood boil.
Yeah, I know she does.
And then like that kind of thing, it's like,
Yeah.
we've been pinned against each other for this whole week.
Yeah.
But having to be around her, like her coming down the other day, just,
Yeah.
it just makes my blood boil.
Yeah,
It does.
and I know, and you wonder why you two are lumped together, and then you kind of lump these two together, and there's resentment here, and I'm just telling you, that needs to go on your to-do list, because you think it doesn't affect you when she isn't around.
Yeah, but it
But I'm-
really does when she is.
I know, but I'm telling you, it affects you even when she's not.
I know.
It changes who you are. Hatred and bitterness is like a really bad odor. It just kind of permeates the whole room. You know, like if there's a skunk outside, it kind of goes through the whole house. Bitterness and hatred's that way. It kind of goes through everything, and it changes who you are. And, that has to be dealt with. And, you came here talking about, my dad stole my inheritance. And I don't know if you really believe that or still believe that.
I didn't know what to believe. I know, all I knew is that there was, I didn't know
What do you believe now?
I believe that my grandma wanted him to have it all.
Yeah.
From what the documents say.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's something else, but I think that's,
You're welcome to go over and read it.
yeah, I think that. I believe that. And I'm okay with that.
And that's, and you also know that that's pretty normal.
Absolutely.
That parents tend to pass on their wealth to their children, who then pass it on to their children,
course.
and then their children. So that's not like a really strange thing.
The only issue, I thought that we were supposed to get something, and he did not allow that to happen. But I know now that's not the case, and I am so
Well, he
fine
talked
with
to her
you having
about
it.
it, and
Yeah.
she changed her mind.
Totally. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
I
He told
want
her
him
that
to
she
be
changed her
happy and feel supported, and
And he may well squander all of that.
That's his
And,
prerogative.
And
Yep.
if he does, then Natalia or whoever Natalia, whatever alter ego is running that identity, will be thrilled to spend your inheritance, I'm sure.
Well, can I ask a question? What would you think if you were up there with us and this Natalie came here and we got along, we decided, okay, we love each other, then she has to go back home, get the fiancé visa, and we got married, and 10 years from now, we're happily married. Do you think you would think I made a big mistake, or you would say, turned out the way you wanted, you won the love lotto, and would they ever say, gee, Dad, I'm glad you're happy? Or would they say,
Of
God, I can't believe
course.
you're with that 36-year-old bitch, Dave.
that's not it at all.
I would think you had absolutely defied the odds. because, you and I getting a little long in the tooth, and if you think that that's your fated mate, then you are drinking too much.
She should stop meddling in it. My mother says, oh, your father stole your inheritance.
We're divorced
She never said
14
that.
years.
You would have to...
The point is, if he stole your inheritance, I think that our learned counsel down here, if she's honest, would probably tell you that if that's the case, he's probably going to get away with it, because the chance of you flipping that
I don't want to flip anything.
is probably close to zero, wouldn't you say?
I think this situation is crying out for a mediation, and you hit the nail on the head. This is not really about an estate. It's not about money.
It's not.
But what about a grand gesture, and you take $15,000 of this inheritance and fly everyone down to Mexico for the wedding?
He's gone catatonic.
The money isn't just sitting in some bank account doing nothing. It's wrapped up in investments.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
She should stop meddling in it. The whole reason that this whole thing came out 2 years after my grandmother died is that my mother said something to my older sisters. Oh, your father stole your inheritance. Like, we would not be
But
here.
she didn't say that.
Had
She just said she saw a copy of the will.
We're divorced
She never said
14
that.
years.
All you would
Yeah, I
have to do is say, hey,
understand,
Dad, can I see both copies of the will? And this whole thing would have been squashed.
Okay, my turn. I think you've got your feelings hurt because your father is an alcoholic, and I think he's kind of drowned out his empathy, and I think he's not as dialed into and as sensitive towards anyone else as he would be otherwise. Mm-hmm. Maybe there are some things that you're going to have to give yourself that you wish you got from him, because people can't give you what they don't have.
Yeah, I get
and
that.
you may have to give yourself some things that you wish you could get from her, because she may be damaged to the point that she can't give you what she doesn't have. And,
Right.
I hope that before you leave this world that you do two things. And one is stop staying in an alcohol haze, and two, stop hiding behind sarcastic humor, and realize that before you sits a daughter that would really benefit from the validation of a father that says, you are important to me, and I will make sacrifices for you, even if it's not the logic that I would choose. I really hope that everybody here would just try to realize the past is over. Mm-hmm. The future hasn't happened yet, and right now you need to try to find a way to be with each other in a peaceful sort of way. And I am certainly willing to help provide any kind of help and psychological support to try to help this. And if you ever get to a point where you decide you want to stop being a slave to alcohol, I will certainly help you do that. You deserve it, and I know that Natalia would thank me greatly. We'll be right back. Well, Lisa says her father, Carl, has always been focused on weight, and she wants to lose 30 pounds before her May wedding. Her mother, Kathy, who was called a 160-pound mosquito by her ex-husband Carl, says that she bought my book, The 2020 Diet, and would like advice on how to lose weight. If you've got your wedding coming up, and let me tell you, I do have a lot of confidence in the 2020 diet. I waited 10 years to write my second weight book because I wanted new things to happen. I wanted something in emerging science and theory to be able to talk about. And we just had the two women on just recently that were my first guests when we launched the book. And they've lost 54 and 40 pounds since they started on this.
That's awesome. I saw that
show. And the two teachers from South Carolina, and they're crazy. Those two are crazy. And you absolutely can do that. And if you want to get in shape for your wedding, then I really want you to do that. And to help you to do that, I'm going to give you that book. I'm going to get you a personal trainer. I'm going to get you set up in a gym. And we're going to get you ready and get you down there so you will make your goal. If you're trying to lose weight in 2015, I believe there's one thing you must do before you can succeed, and it's in 2020 diet. And everybody in the audience is going to go home with a copy today. When it comes to Mother's Day, we don't want to mess around. In just a few days, we'll be honoring the women who bathed us, fed us, guided us, and still love us no matter what. Right?
That's right. And the text with a flower emoji just won't cut it, guys.
So just in time for Mom's special day, our friend Lisa Ersbaumer created a book called A Letter to My Mom. Okay, now celebrities and civilians wrote letters of gratitude to the women who raised them.
Some of the celebrities are Kelly Osbourne, who wrote a letter to her mother Sharon, and Melissa Rivers, of course, wrote a funny letter to her mom before she passed away.
So tell me how you got into this series. This is part of a series of books, right?
It is. Our first one was a letter to my dog, actually, which I know you love your dog.
Oh, yeah, I do. I mean, I haven't written a letter to Maggie, but we do.
I think Maggie knows you love her.
He talks to Maggie every day as
well. I know.
Yeah, here's Maggie.
I think I realized recently that my connection to letters also goes back to my father. When he died, while he was on his deathbed, like the last few nights of his life, he wrote us all letters.
But letters are different than almost anything else we write because they're so personal, right?
Yeah, so personal.
And your dad wrote you all letters? I mean, this was like at the very end. Right?
Very end. He dictated them to my mom, who then typed them up and gave them to all of us like the next day. And they're all framed. And,
so now it's a letter to my mom. And so, Lisa, when you decided to do this, you called and asked me if I would do a letter to my mom.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I wrote a letter to my mom.
Love your letter.
And by the way, I call her Grandma. I said, hey, Grandma, which actually is my mom, you and I have always had one of those unspoken bonds. We understood each other from the start, but that is no excuse for my not actually telling you how I feel. So I'm writing to share a few thoughts that I don't say out loud enough. The footprint of your willing spirit and loving heart are more etched into us than Jay and Jordan's baby handprints were in the concrete sidewalk in front of our Texas home. Rob and I marvel at your kindness, courage, strength, optimism, and rock-solid values have found their way into our whole family right down through our grandchildren. Love like yours has such a ripple effect because your tenderness and wisdom have been passed along to the next generation of McGraws. Just last week, you were helpful to Jay as he comforted little Avery before starting preschool. Jay assured her that other people besides Mom and Dad were okay. He knew that because you made him feel safe and loved every day of his life. People do live what they learn. From you, I learned how to be a compassionate, engaged, loving husband, father, and man. Even at my age, I still do my best to not disappoint you. You have written on the slate of who I am every day of my life. Physically, you left us 3 years ago. Ultimately, it was your heart that gave out, the biggest heart that ever beat. I miss you like crazy, but as I said earlier, you are still here. Your spirit permeates every one of us in ways large and small. Thanks, Grandma. I love you, your favorite son, Phil. Notice I said your favorite son, Phil. I was the only boy.
He's her only son.
There's another letter that is not in the book, but it is one of the sweetest letters I've ever read. I wanted to share it with Robin.
Mom, I've always known that I had an amazing mother, but I realized recently that you can't fully appreciate your parents until you become one yourself. I feel like I should start shopping for Mother's Day cards in the thank you section. As I look back over the years, the dedication and sacrifices you've made for me are unbelievable. I've been blessed in many ways in this life, but none more so than having you as my mom. I love you and thank you. Happy Mother's Day, Jay.
And Jordan is on the road touring with his band Stars in Stereo, but he also says Happy Mother's Day. Lisa's book, A Letter to My Mom, is now available in bookstores, and my whole letter is in it. I just read you a short part. And if you ever want to know a little about my life and relationship with my mother, it's included in there with a lot of pictures along with some other very moving letters. It makes a great Mother's Day gift. And you only have 5 more days to get Mom something, so get busy. So, Lisa, this is a great idea and a great book. Keep this series going, will you?
I will, and thank you, really, for being part of it.
You are such a crybaby.
I am a huge crybaby. These are really happy tears, though. And I hope to bring some more tears very soon, because for everyone in the audience, Lisa has got you covered because she brought all of you a copy of this beautiful book to take home.
Another great gift idea for Mom is one of the products from the Robin McGraw Revelation skincare line. This is something that Robin has been working on for the last 3 years, so I'll let you talk about it.
Very near and dear to my heart. As moms, I think we get so caught up in putting everyone else's needs first. I know your mother did that, as well as my own mother. But I think you've all heard me say that it is not selfish to put yourself at the top of the list, because I think if we don't take care of ourselves, who's going to? So you must take care of yourself. And I think taking care of yourself starts with taking care of your skin. And the products that Philip was just talking about in my 30-day kit makes it easy to do that. One of my top beauty tips that I've always believed in is to never go to bed without washing and cleansing your face. I think that's very, very important, and I've done that every day of my life.
Boy, I'll say.
Without fail, it's very important. Well, this kit that I've created has everything you need to get into the routine of beautiful skin. You know, it only takes a couple of minutes every morning and every night. That was very important to me, to make it something very quick. And I want everyone here to have that 30-day kit. So you're all going home with it.
You can find this product and more at robinmcgrawrevelation.com. So go there, get something for your mom. I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Lisa Ersbaumer. For more information on today's show, you can visit drphil.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
but I didn't hear ya. I thought that I could fly, but woke up on the asphalt. I swear there was the last time. I've always been naive. Call it.
You know we gon' get it. Ooh, you know we gon' get it. Ooh, you know we gon' get it. Every day and night, that's right. Ooh, you know we gon' get it. Ooh, you know we gon' get it. Ooh, you know we gon' get it. Every day and night.
Used to run, 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 all is said and done. Mama played.